sign in. Put it on the bar. So as they get the gears turning.
Tell everybody hit present.
Commissioners, hit present. Commissioners, hit your present button. Miss Janet.
Yes,
One absent, that's Terry, right? Okay, you ready? I will call to order the Jefferson County Board of Commissioners regular session meeting, Jefferson County Courtroom. Mr. Clerk.
19 members present, 2 absent.
We have 19 present, 2 absent. We will move right along to everyone please stand for the prayer, led by Mr. Joe Coleman, and remain standing for the pledge, led by Mr. Sammy Solomon.
Thank you, God, that you give us the grace and the mercy to be here. Thank you, God, that we can come into the business of the county and for this city, in this state. God, we ask now that you would bless this service as we go into it. And God, let everything be done, let everyone be respected. And we give you the praise for all things. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is they call the youth group. Is that the youth group? Youth leadership. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out this evening. I'd like to recognize the youth leadership. Are they with us tonight? Please stand up. Thank you for coming. Next on the agenda, we have proclamations and courtesy resolutions. Is sponsored by Rob Blevins, Marcus Reed, and Jim Snoggers. Is Melissa Murray here?
I have not seen her, and I tried to contact the 911 director, and was unable to, so, and they have something going on.
All right, well, we will just move this to the next month's meeting, if that pleases the sponsors. We have no public hearings. Approval and corrections to the agenda. Does anybody have anything to add or delete? Not hearing any, we'll move right along. Consent into approval of the minutes. Oh, we need to approve the agenda. I'm sorry. We have 19 yes, 0 no to approve the agenda. Next, we have before you the approval of the minutes. We have a motion and a second. Nineteen zero. Next, we have approval of citizens. First up, would you please, when I call your name, to come up to the podium and state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes. Josh Clark, would you please come to the podium? And next, it'll be Linda McSmith.
So my name is Josh Clark. I am here on behalf of the Lake Haven Cabin Owners Association. And I want to just thank the Board of Commissioners for their continued support of our resort. We acquired that land in 2018, received our preliminary approval from you for 250 cabins on that site. To date, we've got 143 platted lots. We have completed our private sewer utility and a private water utility, both state licensed, that can accommodate all 143 of those lots. We've built cabins on 52 of those lots and are actively, and we are short-term rental only. So I'm here this evening to just, listen to the commissioners as you approach, how you approach the latest version of the regulations for monitoring short-term rentals, licensing, permitting short-term rentals. To date, we have invested a lot of time and energy on the business side of things, and the county's just been great to us on the government municipality side of things, providing us clear direction, guardrails, so we can understand what it is to be a good citizen, what the county desires from us. I'm pretty proud of the revenues that we've had a part in creating and contributing to the county, and look to see that continue. I was able to just review, I do want to just thank Janet and Katie specifically, and Mayor Potts. I've been a part of quite a few, just been able to attend and observe quite a few of the special planning meetings as they've worked really hard to hear all the stakeholders. I was a pastor for about 15 years, so I understand what it is to have lots of different stakeholders and try to create policy governance that can provide clear direction for that. I think tonight is maybe the first reading of the policy as it exists, and we'll just continue to ask for clear guardrails, clear direction, and understanding. We started this project back in 2018, and so I like to say as a developer, we're planting trees, not grass. And so probably the most challenging thing for me is when there's ambiguity and uncertainty, because the decisions I make today, really, we're not CO in a cabin for 12 to 14 months on some of our larger cabins. And so as things change, we really do need to just understand what those changes are and how those may impact us moving forward. So I just wanted to state that, say I appreciate you guys, and look forward to the rest of the evening. Thank you,
sir. Next, we have Linda McSmith, and on deck, we have Jason Martin.
Linda McSmith, 3766 Island View Road, Sevierville. I live in Parrott's Chapel. I'm not representing Parrott's Chapel tonight. I want to thank you guys for a lot of the work you do and making a lot of progress in moving towards more frequent meetings, working on communication. I'd like to still see some additional things, getting the packets posted so that we have the information that we can review before the meetings, so we can address in our 3 minutes what is important to us and be able to voice our thoughts and ideas. Also, want to look at the short-term rentals. You know, this has been one of the things I've been out there and about. I am on our fire department as a volunteer, and I'm on there from an administrative role. And I do still have some concerns, and part of them relate to the, first of all, addressing the HOAs. There are some HOAs that are not addressed in the document, so making sure that they address whether they have an HOA within the application process, and are they including a copy of their HOA guidelines within that so that you can see whether or not they are allowed within that HOA. Secondly, looking at addressing a little bit more on complaints. I know previously we had a little bit more verbiage about complaints. Here it just says how they'll be reported and what would happen if you file a false complaint. So going in a little bit more on what triggers a little bit more movement or anything else, or triggers any kind of activity as it would relate to complaints. Also, I'd like to bring up the concerns with Jefferson County Elementary. When is it really going to start? Have we started? There's been no communication back from the commission. We've not had anybody speak from the school system, give an update. So where are we? Can we have regular updates at the meetings so that we know what is happening rather than being blindsided like we were last year? Also, why is there such a delay? Did we anticipate the delay, or is this something that is just happening? And why did the parents have to go out and clean up the existing landscaping before school started? Is that done at all schools, or how does that normally work? Because that, you know, when that gets put out there, that is a little alarming to me, that you're asking the parents to come out and clean up the grounds of the school for their kids to attend. So just making sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing and being held accountable, the school systems and our county government, and working on our communications back to us. Thank you.
Next, we have Jason Martin, and then Kesley Tucker.
Hey guys, Jason Martin, Lakeshore Drive, Dandridge. I don't really have much to say. I think the copy that I received for the short-term rental is not up to date, so I can't really speak intelligently on what's current, which that in itself kind of seems to be a problem. But anyway, I would like you to consider this ordinance and create something that is, like was said, very clear and defined for both sides of the party. We had some great meetings on both sides of the aisle. I think we worked well together, trying to draft something up. And but again, I don't want to do anything quickly. I want to do it right. And if we could just look into it, make sure everything is proper for both sides. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Next, we got Kesley Tucker. And then we have Rhett Bowling. You'd be next.
Kesley Tucker, Lakeshore Drive, Dandridge, Tennessee. We actually own several short-term rentals, both in Dandridge City, which already has an ordinance, and we have 2 that are out in the county. But I own Mountain Lake Getaways, which is a vacation rental management company here in Dandridge. All the properties that I manage have a Dandridge mailing address and are within Jefferson County. 2 are in the city, and they're already under the city ordinance. The others are all in the county. A lot of the things that are in the ordinance, you can clearly tell were written and compiled by people who do not know how short-term rentals operate. And so that's an issue, because it's hard to be compliant with a lot of the things that are in there, because some of the things that you all have as regulations actually don't work in the real world. And so that's an issue. There are things that are just way too vague. And I know that the committee that had met on this since like maybe last November, I was at most of those meetings. Sometimes we were meeting weekly. And like Jason said, we were going back and forth with people on the other side of the aisle, trying to come up with something that was going to work for everybody, making sure that things are safe, things are reported correctly, taxes are paid, things like that. One of the things that's very vague in this is on the business license for the short-term rental. So nothing is mentioned about what if they are managed by a professional management company? Does that individual property still have to have its own individual business license? Because I would assume that the management company's license would be the umbrella over those rentals. Most people who have professional management companies know nothing about operating or managing a short-term rental. That's why they have a professional management company. And a lot of the things that are in here for compliance and even the documentation and the requirements in doing the permit, or that are even has to be done before the permit, they're going to have no clue, absolutely no clue. It's very encumbering what you all have put together. It's going to be terrifying to them. It is not very friendly for property rights at all. And I think there's a better way to do things. And this, like we said, this is a first draft. I still haven't seen it because I was directed to the packet for tonight, and what was on there is not what the newest version is. So it's changed multiple times since you all voted on it at the committee level. So this is a first time being brought before the full commission and to everybody here, and I don't even have a copy still. So that's an issue too. It's hard for us to be able to communicate intelligently with you all when we don't have accurate information. And that's how a lot of the things in what's written that I have seen it's a problem because it's very, very vague in a lot of areas. Even the grandfathered in stuff. It's like it doesn't even mean anything when you read what I saw. So we need some clear guidelines as to what is grandfathered. What does it mean?
Thank you. Next, we have Rhett Bowling.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
On deck is James Nolan.
Yes, my name is Rhett Bowling. I'm one of the co-owners of Cowboys Smoky Mountain Lakeside Resort Marina now. I think I met Josh one time before at one of these meetings, said hi to him, but I feel a lot the same as him. I even sent some messages back and forth recently with Frank. Everybody, since we acquired that property in 2020, has been nothing but great to us. Everything we've pretty much have asked for, I think everything we've asked for has been within reason. Everybody's worked with us and helped us out, and we're very proud of kind of what we've done there over the last 4 or 5 years. One of the first things we did when we got there was we went to the state legislature. They deemed it a resort of historical distinction in the state of Tennessee, which we're proud to have there as well. And kind of like what Josh said, mine's more about clarity. Every one of us in here who are maybe in what's considered STR industry have probably different questions because we go about it a different way. I don't have any houses that are in different neighborhoods or throughout town. All of my short-term rentals are right there on Cowboys property. 6 of those is a hotel unit, right? So that hotel was probably built there long before I was born, and maybe about the time my mom was born. It may have been the first hotel in the county. I don't know. But so 6 of the 10 there are hotel rooms. Do they get treated like a hotel? Do they get treated like Airbnbs? I have to advertise them on an Airbnb website, but they were a hotel. I just changed the name because I didn't think a 6-unit hotel really fit very well when we were naming everything. So I just got a few more examples like that because to me it's all about clarity, and I know there's people who want these things to be expedited, but when the goalposts get moved, there's a lot of money at stake. I probably don't have near invested what Josh does just by hearing the scope of what he's doing, but we're talking about things were created with a P&L working in a certain way to make ends meet. And when you move the goalpost, then you got to try to figure out, can you still win the game with the goalpost moved? Another example, like just a couple of more, and I'll take my time real quick. At the top, and again, I also have the old copy. I don't have the one that I should have had tonight. I apologize for that. Maybe that's on me for not being more pursuant to that. But there's a part of the one that I do have, it says residential units include except, and there's a line with nothing in the exception. Well, what could fall in that exception? Then there's a place and it said, should this include campgrounds or not? Well, there's a lot of campsites that are rented throughout this county. What are you going to do with them? Why would the campsite that's rented for $100 a night by the lake be treated different than a cabin that's by the lake? I don't know if it should. So those are the ambiguities that have to get out. And here's another big one for me. I've been working with Matt on your health department. We're looking to put in a $180,000 pool there for our guests that we worked through Matt and the health department to get in, got the loan coming through in the next probably 7 to 10 days. The statute says for STRs, which I think I would technically fall into that, you can have no cameras pointing towards a pool. And I understand why in an individual world. I get that. This is about where do I fall? Because you look up the statute in the state of Tennessee, and in reasonable areas that are expected by the public around a pool, a resort can have a camera by the pool. So does that mean everybody could say, well, we'll figure that out. That's just common sense. When you're dealing with things that aren't in writing in government, sometimes it ain't always common sense. And these are the reasons, and I know, so it's been like a year or two. I've only been to this game for a little while with you. It's just got to be done right, because these little things are out there, and I just don't want to see people get hurt, and I apologize for the extra 20 seconds or so. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. James Nolan, you're next. Next up, we have Marion Knight.
James Nolan, 714 McGuire Road, Newmarket, Tennessee. I'm here to recommend that the county does not purchase that Moore property because it's approximately $2 million, and you guys have sat here for months and months complaining to the taxpayers they can't make the budget and stuff, and you've raised the wheel taxes, you've raised the property tax several times. So I think if that was purchased by the county, that's a direct slap in the face to the taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Marion Knight. James Lance, you're next.
Marion Knight Dandridge. At last month's meeting, the possibility of purchasing a large lot of land for future use came up, and commissioners seemed excited. Then we heard the cost of the property. After Mr. Seal had been grilled in the name of fiscal responsibility for his lobbying cost of $25,000, it appeared that the commission was willing to spend $1,750,000 for this land with very little discussion. Then last week, I attended a presentation by the Dandridge Fire Chief. He explained that the county used 78% of its services while providing only 26% of its funding. The rest comes from the town, donations, and fundraisers. A few days later, I got a request from Jefferson County Rescue Squad for donations to fund its services. Apparently, county funding for this emergency response group is also deficient. From budget discussions, I knew that sheriff's deputies are paid substantially less than surrounding areas, including cities in our own county. I'm here tonight to ask you to please re-examine your priorities. If you ask residents and tourists what governments should fund, the first response would likely be public safety. Purchase of land for future use might never be mentioned. Every year during budget discussions, it seems that the county is balancing its budget on the backs of its employees and does not value public safety enough to fund it. So please prioritize public safety. Start funding public safety groups fully and start planning to make our county salaries competitive, especially law enforcement. If this means you must institute a mining tax, a short-term rental tax, some other tax, or even higher property taxes, so be it. You can always create exemptions for those who cannot afford to pay. Public safety departments should not have to beg for funds. You could even lobby to add the use of hotel-motel taxes to fund strictly fire, emergency medical, and law enforcement. After all, tourists have to be safe too. While it's tempting to purchase land, please refrain from doing so until critical services are fully funded and employees are paid equitably. Thank you, and I mean no disrespect to anyone, and I also support the grinder. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, we have James Lance, and on deck, we have Mr. Bryant.
Good evening, Jefferson County Commissioners. My name is James Lance. I'm a 27-year veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces residing at 2246 Peninsula Drive, Jefferson City, Tennessee. I'm here on behalf of the citizens of Dogwood Acres. I want to address this commission on two issues. First, I request the commission approve the short-term rental revenue tax resolution on tonight's agenda. This resolution will add another additional source of operating revenue for the county coffers. This tax will be borne by individuals, a significant number of whom do not even reside in our county. The short-term rental owners will undoubtedly pass along any tax you impose to their clients. Secondly, with regard to budget and expenditures, I asked this commission, what are you doing? During last month's county commission meeting, the budget committee debated for the majority of their meeting regarding spending $25,000 to pay for our own lobbyist, someone who is willing to work with state legislators in order to protect and promote Jefferson County interests. This appears to be a prudent use of Jefferson County constituents' taxpayer dollars. In contrast, there was a motion to spend $1.75 million to purchase property adjacent to the county landfill. It appeared this was first heard from many of the county commissioners, not to mention all of the constituents in attendance during that meeting. I commend Commissioner Snodgrass for requesting the commission table this motion until all commissioners could obtain additional information on the proposed transaction. Furthermore, I am deeply concerned regarding how this motion was initiated. In fact, during the past 2 years, numerous concerned citizens have addressed this commission regarding the county's seemingly wanton spending problem. The proposed significant $1.75 million expenditure of hard-earned taxpayer dollars further reinforces my long-standing position that this commission does not have a strategic plan to develop Jefferson County. Subsequently, I'm requesting the commission do the following three things. Number one, request our commissioners redouble their efforts to be fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars. Number two, do the work necessary to develop a 5-year strategic plan with the associated fiscal guidance to the county departments. And number three, improve the level of transparency in our local government, especially with regard to expenditures and other budgetary issues. Thank you.
Next, we have Benson Bryant. And
Thank you.
Jim Fox, you're next.
My name is Benson Bryant. I live at Angie Lane in Dandridge. I'm here to discuss something very basic, clear agenda descriptions. You know, as Jim just discussed and various people have discussed, last month, this is the biggest glaring example of what I'm talking about. Last month on the agenda, I don't even know if it said more property. It just all of a sudden we were talking about $1.7 million for 86 acres of property adjacent to the landfill. Come to find out, you know, you would think that this is going to be for a landfill, but they're going to use money from I'm sorry. Hotel, well, yeah, the hotel motel tax, tourism and economic development. I still can't, I don't understand how a county, a government agency is in land development. I mean, I don't know why taxpayer money should be spent on land development, and why can't the owner, how come the county can't just rezone it for that owner and they can develop it? I don't understand. Maybe I'm all for small government, I'm not for big government. I don't understand why a government would even purchase property unless it's for safety. You know, I know the hospital or fire stations or, government buildings, but economic development, I don't know how that falls under a county jurisdiction. But anyway, so again, last month, who knows where this, and like you said, fortunately Jim Snodgrass tabled it, or else it appeared like there was going to be a vote on it. I mean, and nobody, I'm not sure if any of these, I certainly didn't know, and I've talked to various different commissioners since then. They had no idea what it was truly about. I still don't think we do. And again, my point, here's today's agenda. And all it is on old business tabled more property. That's what our citizens, that's what I have to go by. You know, that's all I have to go by. So how can I get up here and discuss what's going on with that or form an opinion when all that's shown to me is more property under old business on line 14. So I've been talking to her, name's Carrie Dixon. She puts out these agendas. She is greatly improving things. I mean, I know that you guys got your packets early, or earlier than normal, almost 8 days ahead of time. That's great. Sounds like there's certain things that are, the budget committee's packet is online, so the public can see that. That's a great improvement. That's transparency. So those are good things. So I'll get to my point very quickly. We need to have better descriptions for agendas. They need to be more clear. Tennessee Code 8-44-110 requires that agendas published at least 48 hours before the meeting, and they must reasonably describe the matters to be deliberated or acted on, and that's what we need going forward for you and for the citizens. Thank you.
Next, we have Jim Fox. And last, we have Kathleen Villers. You're up.
Good evening. I'll try to keep this just a little short. Jim Fox, Abilene Trail, Dandridge. Some 2.5 years ago, I saw the need for short-term rental regulations to be implemented in Jefferson County to set health and safety standards for the rentals and to ease the conflicts between the rental owners and the neighborhoods. I also believe that if you present a problem, you should be willing and have a solution for it as well. So, instead of just complaining about the situation, I, as a private citizen, set out on a journey to fulfill the need. I did a ton of research for short-term rentals, not only locally, statewide, nationally, and even internationally. Along the way, I enlisted the help of several citizens, with other citizens volunteering to help out as well. Then we as a group engaged the help of several commissioners, most of the, if not all the department heads, and even the mayor. So, and I would like to thank everybody, but it'd probably take me 10 minutes to thank everybody individually. The result of that work sits before you tonight as a short-term rental resolution that will accomplish the goals that were set at the beginning of this journey. Members of the commission are already talking about a property tax increase next fiscal year, even though we're less than 2 months into the current budget. The short-term rental resolution has the potential to generate large additional revenue to the county, potentially solving the property tax issue for the foreseeable future. In response to a couple of comments that were made here, this does not interfere with property rights. You still have the right to choose whether or not you want to have a residential dwelling or rent it out. If you rent it out as a commercial business, you're subject to a higher standard, and that's what this aims to do. Secondly, CTAS says that this is the most detailed short-term rental document they've ever seen. So there's been a lot of effort put into it. Showing that a lot of effort been put into it. I ask the committee to approve his resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Ms. Kathleen Villers.
Good evening. Kathleen Villers, 2202 Arrowhead Drive, Dandridge. I'm here on behalf of my husband, William Villers, and myself, and it is in regard to short-term rentals. I would ask the commissioners to please vote yes for the short-term rental resolution. A couple of key summary and pieces of information as to why. Prior to that, again, a thank you also to the commissioners who've worked very hard on this, and also citizens. It's been a collective effort, And the result of such is a resolution before you that I think really represents a compilation of best practices and very, very good approach for the county. Why is it important we pass the short-term rental resolution? Because there's already estimated to be at least 1,000 short-term rentals in the county, and that number is expected to increase. We see neighboring counties like Sevier with already 8,000 short-term rentals. And why is it important? Because some of the key reasons, if we look at the permitting and procedures, we need guidelines on occupancy limits, so we don't have 20 people occupying a unit maybe suited for 6. Annual inspections need to be conducted. Parking considerations need to be also considered, so we don't have streets blocked or fire, say, trucks not being able to get through. And additionally, health and safety issues need to be considered. Not only the fire prevention measures, but also things such as pool and hot tub safety or privacy, so that there aren't cameras invading on people's privacy. There are risks of not passing. One could be exposure of the county to legal liability issues if something serious does happen. There could also be the decline of neighborhoods, housing availability, but also loss of revenue. There have been some estimates, and conservatively, this resolution, as Mr. Jim Fox pointed out, is really looking to bring some significant monies into the county, starting with maybe conservatively a low estimate of $2.9 million per year, middle estimate of 4.3, a high estimate of 6.2 million per year. That would be significant to our county to bring in much needed revenue. But all in all, I think we need to please pass this resolution. It puts our county on a level playing field. Many other counties have a short-term rental resolution, and it provides for a fair approach to assuring short-term rentals are handled in a safe manner, but also equitable to our county. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have approval of notaries and bonds. Frank, do you have anything to add?
I'd like to add the names of James Hall, Mark Snowden, Joshua Johnston, and Jane Brodsco, if it pleases the commission.
Question or comment? Not hearing any, proceed to vote. Pass 19-0. Next, we have County Mayor Mark Potts.
There's a letter in your packet.
Letter in the packet. Thank you, sir.
The finance director and I both got it from the comptroller.
Next, we have Chairman's comments, and I'd like to take a moment from the chair and explain something that a lot of you have got concerns about that hasn't been properly explained yet. In the last meeting, the discussion did not open up, is the use of the hotel motel tax. Most people do not understand how this money can be spent. And I want everybody to go home tonight understanding that the hotel motel tax can only be spent for 2 things. We collect this tax, but it can only be spent for entertainment and economic development. That's the only 2 things. You can't buy patrol cars, you can't buy ambulances. This money cannot be spent, and it is regulated by the state of Tennessee. We currently have, Jesse, what, 2.2 million right now in the bank that we can only spend for 2 things. There's another $1 million in economic development for a business park or whatever. But this money cannot be put into a budget. Let me reiterate that. It cannot be spent for day-to-day expense. I want everybody tonight to understand that before we go home. It's economic development or entertainment. This body can choose to spend it for them 2 things. And all the misconceptions I've read it all on Facebook, and that's why tonight Chairman's comment is, let's get the facts straight. Facebook sometimes is right, most of the time wrong. So let's get this right. And that's all I have right now from the chair. Next we have Miss Nancy. You want to speak?
I do.
Go right ahead.
Okay. I wanted to address the short-term rental. Apparently, there's been some confusion. Several people have asked me about it. The short-term rentals that we can tax commercially are on the tax roll. There's a lot of, I have to follow state law. Now, I haven't seen your latest regulations, don't know what they are, but I just wanted to make some points clear. If you own a home and you have a garage with an apartment over it to the side of your house on your residential property, and you put it on a short-term rental program, it cannot be taxed commercially, only residentially. If you have a guest house in your backyard, it cannot be taxed commercially, or an apartment on your barn, or as long as you have one rental unit on your primary residence property, I cannot tax it commercially, regardless of how often it's rented out. Now, I've checked this with our county attorney and also with CTAS. And then the other thing is, we have a lot of homes around the lake that are second homes, summer homes, and they rent them out pretty much all year. But all they have to do to avoid a commercial tax is to file an affidavit in my office saying that they stay there 2 weeks out of the year, and it cannot be taxed commercially. A lot of people only own, now if you own more than one house, the game changes, but if you only have one summer home. And as far as the campers have been put on the tax roll this year. We haven't got all of them on. We have got anything that is 3 or more on any individual piece of property. Those are owned as residential properties. Now, if you have some property on the lake and you have 3 or more campers on that piece of property, it is considered commercial, the land and the campers. So I just wanted to make that clear that there's a lot of loopholes in being able to tax over short-term rentals commercially. Anybody have any questions?
Question or comment from Ms. Susan?
Yes, I'd like to ask you, this is not short-term rentals.
Okay.
I want you to help explain to people that have been asking me about retired people, helping them with their property taxes.
Okay.
What we have in place already for the county. I know the state has stuff in place. I want you to explain what we do in the county for that, please.
Okay, when the tax freeze initially came up, the trustee and I, at that time, Ginger Franklin, attended several meetings on this, and it is pretty complicated, and I was going to have a new employee. She was going to have a new employee, and there's a lot of regulations on it. It's only 5 acres, and if you come off 1 year, or up to 5 acres, if you come off 1 year because you don't meet the financial guidelines set by the state, then your property goes up to market value and you start all over again the following year. So the county came up with a plan to just match whatever the state gave an individual person. And I think that's worked out really well. I've got some figures here. The the tax relief or the tax freeze only works in areas where the tax rate goes up significantly every year. If we had implemented the tax freeze between 2014 and 2019, the tax rate didn't increase at all. It stayed at 235. So if you were on tax freeze, it would have done you no good at all. Whereas if you got $100 from the state and the county matched it, you would have gotten an additional $100 toward your taxes all 5 of those years. Then from 2019 to 2022, again, the tax rate did not increase, so you wouldn't have received any benefit. Even if the tax rate does increase, I did some figures on a $300,000 home. If you implemented the tax freeze right now on a $300,000 home At the current 149, the taxes would be, county taxes would be $1,118. If you went up next year a dime, the taxes would be $1,193 and a $75 difference. So with the county matching whatever the state provides, in most cases, roughly $100, then they would still be better off because that would only save them $75, where if the county was giving them $100, they're still to the good. So I think that the system that we have now works great as meeting those needs.
Mr. Snoggers.
That was all. I learned a lot there. Question, a what-if question.
Okay.
So I live on one side of White Pine, and let's say I purchased a house over in Leadville on the lake, and I wanted to make it a short-term rental. But I stay there 2 weeks out of the year. Does that make me exempt?
That's my understanding.
Okay.
Now, if you have two houses over there, obviously you're not, you can't do that. It's my understanding of the state law, and let's see, I think Doug's here. If you had more to add to it. She's correct.
Doug, come to the microphone, please, and answer. Thank you.
She's correct. Everything she said about the taxes and the comptroller, I think that's to 2021.
Yes.
With respect to making, I don't want to necessarily call it a loophole, but there's clearly a very, very specific 1, 2, 3 step to figure out whether or not you can be taxed as commercial or residential.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else have a question for Susan?
First, I want to thank you for coming tonight, speaking.
You're welcome.
I've had several people ask me, and one of the things I was trying to do is to appreciate you coming and talking about that.
Oh, you're welcome. Now, the trustee's office is where you actually apply for tax relief, and the income limit is provided by the state. So, thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Eric Large, sanitation. Question.
Can I mention something about the tax relief program right now?
Sure. That's what we're talking about.
There's a tax relief program that covers veterans, fully disabled veterans at 100%.
Microphone, please.
Oh, I got double. I thought I was loud enough anyway. I'd just like to mention that the tax relief program presently in place is running out of money. It's running out of money for senior citizens on a fixed income. It's running out of money for veterans who are disabled. From what I have understood, and by talking to our state senator's office, and I got feedback from the comptroller, if we do not fully fund that, if the legislature does not fully fund that this coming year, the next year after, it will be prorated, and it will start all over again for a disabled veteran or for senior citizens where they have to apply, and they'll have to pay their taxes up front. And the county does match with that program. I have got a resolution in the process to go to the governor, go to the legislature, and ask the legislature to fully fund this program for the senior citizens and for the veterans. So keep that in mind if you see it in the news, if you talk to your representative, that we need to make sure that we still take care of the senior citizens and the disabled veterans in the state of Tennessee. We are the volunteer state. Sometimes we lose that fact. There is a difference between what a veteran gets and what a senior citizen gets, but there are some different views, points of views that go around, and always when we have a point of view, some people may take it the wrong way. But first of all, we should always discuss things professionally and respectfully. And thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Eric.
week, or last month, you all as a body and also the budget committee asked, when I had made mention of a shredder, grinder, however you want to approach it, to come back with some prices. I've reached out to 3 companies. 2 companies got back to me. One of them is for a Tana, through Humdinger Equipment, is a 25 model. This is just the shredder grinder, is 1.1, 13 million. That's the 25. Now the 26 is 1.2 million. That price does not include a 20% tariff that would be added. They do have some leftovers. The other company, Viable, which is a Compton shredder, all these are compatible to these 2 are compatible to each other. With the quote that they give me for the shredder and 1, 2, 3, 4 conveyor belts was $1,356,960. Now, with that being said, I have taken and sectioned out the shredder, the magnet, and 1 conveyor belt, which that total comes to $1,057,320. On that first figure, we had a total discount of $185,000 towards the purchase of this shredder. This company here deals with a Sourcewell contract that the county deals with. Like I say, the other company has not, they didn't bother to get back to me. The third one I reached out to. I did go to Hamlin County, looked at Hamlin County. Hamlin County has a Tana. They've had it for about 3 years now. They run everything through theirs. They run wood, C&D, which is sheetrock, couches, chairs, small things like that, mattresses, everything. They get their metal out of it. Whatever comes out of it gets kicked off, so that's a byproduct. With a shredder, if we were able to purchase one or have one, roughly on a regular basis, and this is just a minimum price, our tires, we pay a company to pick up our tires in Jefferson County and haul them out of Jefferson County, because we cannot put a complete tire, a tire that is all together in our landfill. It has to go outside. So on a regular basis, we pay a minimum of $3,000 towards that for this company. Now, with that being said, we have a overage charge. If we're over a certain tonnage, we get charged extra. If we're under a certain tonnage, we get charged extra for them to take our tires. With a shredder, those tires could be shredded and put into Class 3. That saves us, we're still saving space, because essentially we're cutting our spot in half, which is doubling our lifetime. With the tires, Ms. Elder and I had kind of sat down, and we come up, I think J.C. said earlier, 6 years would pay for this machine, counting the expense of saving, not getting rid of our tires, not paying somebody to get rid of our tires. They will be picking up another load of tires here within the week. That'll be number 6 since I have taken over that we've sent out, and we've got, I can guesstimate about 3 more loads to go. So there's another $9,000 that we could be saving on all that.
Question or comment from Mr. Large?
Can we get the screen working for questions? Do we have that function available? That's one. We could. Yes, request to speak. If we can. I'm sorry. Got to be a voting item. Okay. So, Eric, if you grind, I heard you say double life. Is that the entire landfill life?
This grinder would be, if we purchase this grinder first, it would go to Class 3. So it would be everything C&D, construction and development and stuff like that. So if anybody was to bring couches, chairs, sheetrock, any type of big plastic item, stuff like that, that's what would go through this grinder.
Okay. And how long will that extend our current Class 3 areas, or what does it do to?
We could essentially extend it out. With that, it being compacted, I could see it being extended 80 years.
80?
Yeah, because, we purchased that land last year.
Right.
There's just certain sections of that land we can't use because there's that gas line there. But the rest of it and what we have now, I can see it going 80 years.
And is
I
that-
will never see it full, Class 1 or Class 3. I'll never see it full.
And what does that, is that our largest consumer of the landfill?
No, it's really about 50-50 between C and D and residential.
Okay.
Yeah, and this machine can be purchased to do residential trash too. And you're talking about cutting that, doubling that space. Again, you'd be cutting it in half. So you'd be doubling your space in residential.
So we move beyond the 80-year mark roughly?
If we could, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I could see it reaching well out for.
Right.
If you had two going in each spot, there's no reason to not make 100 years. Yeah, 'cause we have Class 1, we have space. Class 3, we've got that 66 acres. So like I say, there's a 50 or 75 foot right of way through there that we can't use, that we have to build a land bridge over. That's the only thing. But other than that, it's ours to use.
Yeah, thank you.
Jimmy Dale.
Eric, you saw the one in Morristown.
Mm-hmm.
What was the price of it? You quoted about 3 different
The
prices.
the one in Hamlin County, if it's a 25 model, is $1,113,000, and that's just for the machine. They didn't offer these other conveyors that this other company did, and they just put that this other company just put those conveyors in as a complete bid. We necessarily wouldn't have to buy them. It would make things a little bit easier. That way you're not moving the machine. It's a track machine. It can be moved. The conveyor is a track conveyor. It's self-powered. You would move it versus moving your machine. And that price on this one, Mr. Patterson, was just the machines, $876,920. Regular price is $996,550, and we get a 12% discount on that. That's through our Sourcewell agreement that we have.
Are you good, Jimmy Dale?
Yeah.
All right, next we have Randy Bales, and then we have Janet Norton.
I believe you said earlier that, if I remember correctly, that in Morristown or Hamlin County, they were actually digging up some of the stuff that they had buried because it was so efficient and it's taking up, reducing what they actually have already used in the thing.
Yes, they're digging back out of their Class 3, 4 that they've not covered. I'll give you a prime example. While we were there, they run mattresses, tree trunks, logs. We wouldn't be running logs through it. The 3 mattresses I seen were either king size or queen size. They were all the same size. They wasn't full or anything like that. If you remember the older wheelbarrows, it's got the 2 big wheels on it. It's got the back handle that's wood-sided. After they got done and the metal come out one way, all the innards and stuff can come out the other way. You can put all 3 mattresses in that wheelbarrow and go wherever you wanted with it. So that's essentially how much space. And plus, with that, once it's shredded, we're going to be compacting that. So it's not like it's going to be just shredded and just kind of pushed out there. It'll be leveled out, and then it will be compacted.
And also, earlier, I asked Jimmy about it. I believe that would have to come out of your all's funds or paid for out of the revenue that y'all bring in. Is that correct?
That's the way.
So it wouldn't
that's the way we.
wouldn't be taxpayer dollars. It
Right.
would be something that would benefit us that would come through your
Yeah.
department.
Unless you just want to say, hey, we'll buy it for you.
What's the life of those things?
The machine, both companies said 10 to 12 years. It just depends on how much you run them. If they were run every day and whatnot. And I wouldn't foresee right now, if we had one, I wouldn't see it running every day, maybe 3 days a week, all day long. So.
Okay, Ms. Janet.
I think they kind of answered my question because that's what I was thinking.
Microphone, please.
Well, it's actually on. Is that better? There we go.
There you go.
I was just, that's my question, how to pay for it, because that's what we keep coming up against in county commission. We've got this money over here, but you can't touch it. And we've got this money over here, and we can't use that. You know, how do we pay for it? It kind of sounds like a no-brainer to me. We buy more land and pour more trash on it, or we buy this grinder for $1 million and free up that land. I mean, it just seems like a no-brainer, and what's it come down to is how you pay for it.
I thought I had a way to pay for it. There's Miss Elder sent a grant to me. I looked at it. This grant would have paid out $27 million. Federal government has paused that grant because the first part of it was a loan grant. The second of it was a 100% here's your money. But the federal government has decided that they're pausing that grant. So I thought I had an end, but we don't.
So do you all have enough money, and I don't know, enough money in your fund to pay for any of it? I mean,
We do, but one thing we have to remember is if the landfill ever closes, or let's say this body come in and said we're selling the landfill, no matter what, if the landfill closes, or if we sold the landfill and they close the landfill for the next 40 years, Jefferson County has to maintain that.
That's right.
So there has to be money to take care of that closure. And that's not just for where we're at our facility now, that's also for the old landfill too.
what you got, Jesse?
That's where our deficit comes in on the audit findings, what he's speaking on behalf of, the post-closure amounts. It's where we have to adjust it. We're right in the middle of year end. By law, we have to be closed by August 29th. So hopefully next month I'll have financial updates for you all. As of right now, I don't want to speak on behalf of their financial because before year end, we weren't looking, I don't think we could purchase this at that point because we did just bid out additional work for Class 3 closure, and you all approved up to $500,000. So cash was not there. So we'll have to see what year end. Hopefully next month we'll know more, and if we know more, what he's speaking on the Sourcewell contract, that means we don't have to bid it out because it's an approved contract that we can purchase off of. So we wouldn't have to spend time and money going through the bidding process at that point. So hopefully we'll have more update for you next month.
Anyone else? Thank you, Eric.
Got one more thing before
Sure.
we leave. This body asked last month also about TDEC. I am here to tell you, TDEC will be here to see you September, your meeting. This is what TDEC requests. From today to the 29th, you have to send me an email with 2 questions from each commissioner to me. Those questions I will go through on the 29th after dinner. If there are any that are repetitive, I will not send them to TDEC. TDEC wants questions up front. And the simple reason, TDEC don't want to come up here and play games. They want to come and answer your questions that you have. They want to benefit this board to help you guys understand. My board had a sit-down, in-person meeting with TDEC at our last meeting. They explained so much stuff that the board had not been privy to before. We have a contact at TDEC. I told you that last month. I can talk to him anytime on your behalf. He just requests that everything go through me to him. That's what he requests. That's the reason they're asking for Yuns to reply your questions to me. So everybody to the 29th at dinner, and then after dinner, I'll start going through those questions. So if Yuns will send me, from each one of you, if you'll send me 2 questions per commissioner, I will go through those. If any are repetitive, I will not send them to TDEC. But they do plan on being here in September, and there will be, Mr. Haynes should be here, Mr. Rabinda should be here. Both of those are in the Knoxville office. They see our permit, they're part of our permitting process, and then there will be another gentleman that comes from Nashville. He will be here as well. So that's what they've asked of this body, and they asked the same of our body at as far as sanitation board. They asked the same before we met with them. Because it's essentially they just don't want to step in and be blindsided by questions that have absolutely nothing to do with the permitting process.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Budget Committee. Is that Mr. Tim? Hold up.
Can I ask the director of schools if he'll give an update on Jefferson Elementary?
You can. We'll just go ahead and do it right now, since we're in director reports.
Can you just give us an update on Jefferson Elementary?
Sure.
Microphone
Last
there,
time I
Katie.
was here, before school was out, we talked a little bit about why you would not see anything this summer, about abatement not happening, and there's no way to go in there and tear stuff out whenever you don't have a drawing to put stuff back yet. So, you know, you can't tear out the floor tile and take down the ceilings and pull insulation on piping that's next to the roof. So we talked about that. And then I went over a schedule with you that we would be in negotiations with the architect who was hired, and then we would put out an RFP for a construction manager, and both of those have occurred. We are under contract with Blankenship, and we are now under contract with the construction manager, Skanska. Both of those processes went through the board attorney and then through the county attorney for those contract approvals. We held a kickoff meeting on August the 4th just to introduce the two parties, and that included the principal of the elementary school, construction manager, the architect, along with the Austin Bridgewater maintenance supervisor. And that was just a general discussion for to get the process going. We talked about that, including schematic design, which will be at least a 3-month process for schematic design. That schematic design will be approved by the board, and then we will enter into, once we have approval of that, we will enter into design development. That's where it turns from more of just a piece of paper into a kind of a model. You could see it. Then we'll enter into construction documents and then into bid. Told you that's a total of, on an easy 7 months at least. Probably something like this may be looking more like 9 months before we actually get the contractor bid out and start construction. But we are under contract. Mr. Drennan helped us. It goes to our board attorney first, so we try to eat some of that cost of attorney fees on the school side, and then by rule it has to go to the county attorney for approval.
I have another question. Can you explain how the PTO at the beginning of the school year goes out and tries to improve the grounds along with the school system, because it was brought up in the citizens' comment section?
Sure. We have several, well, I was at Dandridge Elementary for 20 years, and PTO was a main source there that came in and did a lot of work. Jefferson Middle School, elementary school has had churches that have come out. They do sprucing up. Down at Rush Strong, they did some sprucing up, did some prayer walks in the evening. So one thing about our schools is, sure, we could hire a company to come in and do the work, but it means more for the community for the parents to put into the school. It is a community-based organization, and we have board members that join them. I joined them for about an hour and a half. It was hot. I couldn't make it too long. That desk job's killed me, so I can't do it anymore. But yeah, they do wonderful things, and that's why it is important for the community to be involved and support, whether that's churches or PTOs or Lowe's came in and did a improvement day at Jefferson Elementary School on the wooden playground structure also.
Anyone else question, comment? Evans.
I got a comment. Hey, Director.
Yes, sir.
Arnold, I normally don't go to other district schools. I'm kind of hoping for redistrict. I can take Newmarket too. I love that school.
Microphone.
Sorry.
I had to stop by their PTO meeting earlier on the way up here. It looks so nice in there. They've done a great job. I hope that Rush Strong can model their PTO after New Markets. It looked great, so thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Looks good.
They're really working hard down there.
Yeah.
PTOs are all about the parents that you have and the work they put into it. Do great things, yes.
One more and let's do it.
Okay, I just want to thank you because I've heard people say how nice Dandridge Elementary looks this year, and I know they painted the steelwork and the grounds, and I've heard different people comment that they think the school from the exterior looks better than it's looked in years, so I just want to say thank you.
We try.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, we have Budget Committee.
All three of these amendments passed. Jesse might want to need to explain.
Yeah, so your General Fund 101 Amendment Number 3 is utilizing $10,000 of fund balance. If you just want a quick reference, that's your item number 8. It's purchasing a new scanner for archives. That's Mr. Wayne volunteering. He's worked with a scanner. Last one was purchased 2012. This new one that we're purchasing, he's a bargain shopper, and he's only paying $100 more from the one we bought in 2012. So this wasn't budgeted because this wasn't planned. We didn't know the scanner was going to go out. It died basically like July 3rd, I'm pretty sure, after budget was approved. So, right.
Got a motion on the floor and a second. Question or comment? If not, proceed to vote. Nope, just that one. That's actually a fund balance. If you're real sneaky, you might get the other two together. Jesse.
Can't be too sneaky. We're using reserves on the opioid 121 amendment number 1. This is because I budgeted for $191,000 to come in. We do our budget back in April. The funds came in May, so I'm adjusting it to we received $195,000.
Question or comment? I see no request to speak. Proceed to vote. 19-0 passed.
Drug Fund 122 Amendment Number 1, they sold equipment on Gov Deals. It's confiscated vehicles, and they're required to keep those funds within this fund. So it's bringing in the revenue.
Question or comment? See no request to speak. Proceed to vote. $19-0. Does that conclude the business of the Budget Committee?
Yeah.
All righty, thank y'all. We're going to take, hold on.
The resolution we passed, does it go up tonight or next meeting? No, it's number H under new business.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be new business. We're going to take a very short restroom break, and then we're going to get old business and get right on with this. 10 minutes. Back to order. Would everybody take a seat, quieten down? We are down to old business. This is a tabled matter, so there'll have to be a motion in a second to untable it if you wish to do so. What is the pleasure of the commission? Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second to remove from the table. Is there a question or comment to the removal from the table? Not hearing any? Whoa.
Couldn't hit the button quick enough. I have a quick question, because this has to do with short-term rentals, right?
Yes.
And we've got the committee that we've been meeting about short-term rentals. And we created a document and thought that we had a good document that was going to be brought before everybody and voted on. And then it went before the attorney and CTAS, and the document's been completely rewritten. So what we're about to vote on tonight, the committee has not approved or voted on.
Well, as soon as we remove it from the table, we can talk about that.
Okay. All right.
Anyone else? We will proceed to vote. You vote yes if you are from removing from the table. No if you want it left on the table. (16 yes, 3 no). It will be removed from the table. Now, Resolution 2025-06, a resolution of Jefferson County, Tennessee, to establish regulations for licensing short-term rental units within Jefferson County. The floor is now open for a discussion. Ms. Hyde.
I'm not sure what it is to let the document. It is up here to me what it is the proposal that is
Question, sorry.
When it come, my understanding is this document, when it come back from legal, was very different in the aspects of what it covers and how it pertains. That is my understanding. Ms. Janet, now you can do your questions. Katie Huffaker will be second.
Okay. We met as a committee and met with people from both sides of the community who were adamantly against short-term rentals and people who it's their business and their livelihood, and tried to look at what was fair on both sides and trying to cover, rules and regulations so that people's properties were not destroyed that lived around it, or were not devalued, but also not putting the people who run them out of business with additional regulations, et cetera. I felt like we had a really good document, but legally, Mr. Drennan said it didn't fly, and it did not come back to the committee. We were not able to look at it again. I think CTAS tore into it as well. And as a committee, we've not seen the document. This is not anything that we voted on or have discussed as a group since it's been changed again. And it is entirely different from what we had that we originally voted on. So, in my opinion, I don't understand how as a committee, if we're supposed to be voting on it and how it got here, and this is not what we voted on.
Okay, and we just went blank. We are up to Katie Huffaker.
Okay, so to answer your question, Carrie sent out in the original packet what was available at that time, and then on Wednesday she sent out the finalized version to all the commissioners when it came back from Doug. So I just want to back up a bit and say in 2014 there was a fatal fire with multiple victims occurred at this fire in a Tennessee transient rental home. So that's one reason why the state is letting rules be put in place for short-term rentals, and also the fire marshal has put out a letter regarding it. So the home, more people in it than should have. And this has happened a lot, and so that's why occupancies, maximum occupancies have been brought up in these cities, counties, ordinances, resolutions to prevent that and to prevent bad safety things that could go wrong. So in this document, it has life safety compliance, it has permitting. I would say at least 50% stayed the same. The major changes when it went to Doug, and I'm going to ask him to come up and speak after I do, is we didn't have a codes enforcer on staff, and so he changed the document where it has to be inspected by a certified state inspector. That was a big change in it to what we worked with in our Public Service Committee meetings. And I want to thank all the citizens because we did spend a lot of time. Citizens have spent a lot of time on both sides. We tried to come up with something that was amicable between all the parties, and then we sent it to legal, and we got a great revision, just because there were things we had put in there that we couldn't because the county can't regulate some stuff. And I want to thank Doug because he spent a lot of time working on it and did a really extensive job. So most of the permitting information stayed the same. The taxes, the parking, the minimum standards, he changed wording on, we had a designated agent, we couldn't use that terminology, so the whole thing got, those words were removed and representative was put in place. The video cameras, pets, good neighbor notification, that all stayed the same. The short-term rental representative, the designation and duties stayed the same. Towards the end of the document, it changed with permit revocation and appeals. There is one amendment we need to make that was, a question was asked from an owner today, and so it brought up an issue that when Doug was revising that the short-term appeals word definition got removed, so there's an amendment that everybody received with wording that he submitted to us today to help remedy that. Maximum occupancy changed. It went back to what we started with at the beginning, more so it gives 3 different types of determining maximum occupancy. One's if you are on a municipality sewer system, one's if you're on traditional drain field lawn septic, and one's non-traditional. So if it's okay, can I ask Doug to come up and talk about it?
I'll allow it. But next, we got Randy Bales and Tim Seals wants to make a comment. Mr. Drennan, would you please come to the podium?
Question.
Katie.
I just wanted you to summarize what we had documented that we couldn't have in there and address concerns about the changes.
I'll do my best. In the initial document, of course, when it came from committee was, as I said, extensive, and they've done a lot of work on it. I believe before my time, before I got to look at it, the County Technical Advisory Service had looked at it and had made a number of comments about things the county simply could not enforce. And then, as they always do, they said, let your county lawyer look at it too. And I went through it. I agreed with just about everything that they had suggested. Just to do a general summary. For instance, the Tennessee State Fire Marshal has exclusive preemptory jurisdiction to enforce something such as whether or not a structure needs a sprinkler system. The county doesn't. The county can enforce that. The county doesn't have a codes inspector or a fire marshal to be able to do that. And as a matter of fact, there's only a few counties in our state that have a county fire marshal. And they have to get what's called an exemption from the county fire marshal. And the state fire marshal. And if you're an exempt jurisdiction, then you basically can regulate those things on your own, but you have to fund a county fire marshal's office. So those type things simply could not be enforced by the county. Some of the changes that were made in the document, just so everybody understands, when I got it, my suggestions have to do with not policy per se. That's your all's job. You all determine whether or not we have a short-term rental resolution and whether we how we tax them and those kind of things. Those are not necessarily legal. My function is to try to tell you things that you can and can't do within, and try to make whatever you want to do work legally. But since the county did not have a codes enforcer, we didn't have a codes enforcer, nor did we have a certified, or nor did we have a fire marshal. The only thing that at least I'm just focusing on that issue. The only thing that I could think of that we tried to do was to have the owner provide an affidavit from a certified codes inspector, which would have allowed Frank Herndon, who is going to be the primary contact person for this, to be able to have sworn proof in his hand that a codes enforcer, for instance, had looked at that and had said one of several things. Either, for instance, it doesn't have to have a sprinkler system, or it could have been the fire marshal says, sure, Doug, you've got a 15-bedroom, blah, 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 you can have one. Whatever that is, that part was changed. All of the stuff about trying to have a county official inspect things for a fire marshal and whether or not they meet a fire code were removed from that because simply the county can't and doesn't enforce that. I just use that as an example. Some of the enforcement structure that was in there, CTAS commented simply the county couldn't do. So what we did was tried to put an enforcement, or I tried to help Commissioner Huffaker with a kind of an enforcement mechanism to where if there's a complaint or whether or not during the application process or there's a denial or there's some other issue, whether it's grandfathering status or not, there would be somebody, like if Frank takes the initial application and says, hey, look, this doesn't apply, or you don't apply, you're either not grandfathered because of the following, or your permit's revoked because of one of these instances, then there would be an appeals board that would be able to review if they were aggrieved in any way. They would have that ability to go to a body of folks to be able to do that. Now, that's just one of a couple of things that we did. There were a number of definitions in there, and I think my initial comment, and I'd looked at it several times, were if you're going to use definitions, you need to use the definitions that the state uses, and or simply don't have that definition or something. So some of that, a number of those definitions were either stricken or they were changed based on what the county would and wouldn't enforce. The agency language was removed because the state regulates real estate agents and regulates the agency in that respect. The county doesn't do that. And so some of that stuff was removed for that reason. So again, if there's specific questions, I'll do my best to try to field those, but just so you guys know how that process goes, if one of you have a resolution and you want us to look at, or you want me to look at it, usually and historically it goes to, sometimes it'll go to CTAS first and they'll give them their comments and then they'll give it to me and I'll put mine together and then I try to revise that to meet everybody's goal and try to make it legal. So that's primarily how that whole process occurred and how it got to you today, and that's how you all got it in your hands the way it is. But if there's specific questions, I'll do my best to try to answer that.
But does it come back to the committee after it goes to you typically before it comes for a vote?
I don't know how the structure normally goes. I understand your concern in that respect. If a committee and Commissioner Snodgrass is your parliamentarian with how that procedure goes, I can't just tell you off the top of my head. But typically, if I'm given a resolution, the only thing I really do is try to make sure it's legal and fix it, and then give it back to whether it's Commissioner Norton or Commissioner Snodgrass and give them back. Now, how that process goes from there, I couldn't just tell you off the top of my head how that was. I know it had initially been to committee, and then I think you all wanted me to, there was a comment, I think last meeting, about me doing some work on it, getting that revision back, which is what I did. But whether or not it was supposed to go to committee or not, I couldn't just tell you off the top of my head. But I understand the question.
I have a question.
Hold up. Okay, we got Mr. Randy Bales. Do you have a question for the attorney right now?
So just for clarification, you've removed the unenforceable stuff, cleaned up verbiage, and tried to tidy it up. You didn't add anything to it as per se, except for just cleaning it up, making it more legal.
Well, I think what you'd have to look at is what you mean by add. I tried to, if there was, what a lawyer tries to do in these set of circumstances is try to figure out what the intent of the drafter was. I mean, what that initial intent was. And sometimes there's just things you've got to say, hey, you can't do that. And then there's sometimes where it's like, hey, I think I understand what they're trying to do here. For instance, the affidavit from the certified codes inspector for Frank, that you try to do that until and if you all ever do get a codes inspector or a fire marshal in place, they'll do that. So it depends on what you mean by add. It was significantly changed, no question about it, by CTAS and by me. And I communicated with CTAS as well and raised them a number of questions that simply some of that couldn't. But the short answer is I did my best with respect to what we were provided and what based on what CTAS commented on, for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, Greg Bird, and then we're going to let Ms. Hyda speak. That would be the proper order.
Okay, here's my thing, and it's been since we started talking about this. Okay, you said a codes enforcer, people say we don't have one, or a fire marshal, don't have one. So these guys, I know they have inspection fees for these things that would probably more than pay to hire somebody to do this for the county, so we need to maybe look at getting an office with a fire marshal and with a codes enforcer to go out there. And I have friends that have, at another county, we'll just call it that, and even when they don't raise the tax, they raise the fee and they make money off that too. So these people would more than pay for themselves if we created an office to do the inspections.
The fees, to your point, the fees have to be used to fund the office.
Yeah. And that's, like
not
I said,
the taxes per se through Susan's office, but the fees have to be used to fund the office.
and
if there is
they would more than pay for this. You're talking about $2 million worth of taxes we're throwing away. And you could hire some guy to you know, do this and do the inspections, and they'd pay for themselves with the fees. So I don't understand why we're holding up over that. We just get it done.
Hold up, Miss Janet.
He's gonna ask
Hold
for
up.
another one, and we have to have a codes enforcer. There's gonna be two jobs out of that.
Yeah.
So how are we gonna make any money off this? We're just gonna be paying for traditional jobs.
He just said the fees pay for their salary.
Yes.
Not the taxes.
But they don't
the
want-
fees.
Greg, you have the floor.
Okay.
You have the floor, sir.
Yeah, he was just saying the fees pay for these two jobs. I mean, that is a no-brainer. If that's paying it, it's not going to affect the taxes we bring in. Maybe we just need to create these and first off figure out how much it's going to cost to create it. But even if it's $100,000 for the two of them, I'm sure it'll be maybe a little bit more. You're talking $2 million we're waiting on, and we keep dragging our feet on. That's all I was going to say about it.
Okay, Miss Hyda, you get to speak. Miss Norton will move to the end because she has already spoke, and then it will be Ronnie Coleman and Jim Snoggers. Miss Hyda, you have the floor.
My concern is section 13, which basically says that under state law, you can have an HOV, you can have covenants, and you can put restrictions. And that says that is correct under state law. Then in the next paragraph, the county says it won't enforce it.
We don't. The county never has. County can't.
But somehow that puts the people in that community, their only option ever is to sue. So who are you going to sue? You going to sue the owner? You going to sue the county? Can you sue the county?
No,
for
it
not,
would be.
for not
I'm sorry.
enforcing the law?
The short answer, the county never has enforced covenants, cannot enforce covenants because they are, if you and I were living in a subdivision and we had covenants, that's a contract between us. And if you violate those covenants and you breach that contract that you have with me, I can file a lawsuit to make you comply with those covenants. The county does not get involved in that. I would say in probably 26 years that I've been doing this, and as Tim can probably attest, is a regular occurrence at planning commission meetings and zoning meetings that folks come up and they want the county to do something about the restrictions in their covenants. The county simply can't. And that particular provision that you reference is to make it clear that those private agreements are not enforceable by the county and the county won't do it. The county never has done it. So.
But how can a county not enforce state law?
It's not. No, I understand what you're saying, but this is saying that it's a private contract. It's not required by the state that you and I, in my example, have subdivision covenants. But if we do, if there were 21 lots and somebody violated, their neighbor can enforce that covenant, but the state can't, nor can the county.
Ronnie Coleman.
My only question is, why are we even talking about it when it's not been back to the STR board to see the final version of it?
I kind of agree with Ronnie on that.
Are you talking about the Public Service Committee?
Yeah,
that
Public Service Committee's
Okay.
meeting about it,
Yeah. So, I mean, if nobody knows what the final version is, why are we even discussing it?
From the chair, the best answer I can give you is it came back from legal. Everybody was in a foot race to put it in this meeting, and the original version still had commentary on it when I seen it. So the finalization is up to this committee. It's up to this commission.
You can amend it or whatever you like.
You can amend it.
Pass, fail.
It's
Yeah,
up
sure.
to the full county commission.
You can still send it back to that committee, right?
Sure you can.
Well, that's going to be my take, to send it back to that.
Well, hang on just a minute, and let's get these speakers over with.
Okay.
If you want to make a motion, send
I'll
it
do
back,
that.
we'll do that. Okay, next we have, Greg, you've done spoke, Katie's done spoke, Janet Norton. Okay, we got anybody new that wishes to speak? Jim, did you have a comment? I thought I seen your name up there. Oh, okay. All right. For those of y'all that's already spoke, Janet Norton, you got the floor now. Let's find this.
Okay, and that was my question. If we're going to do these committees and we're going to take the time to go through this stuff, and Doug, thank you for taking the time to go through that. Please don't think that I am at all. It has to be legal, and there was a whole lot of it in there before that we did question, is this legally enforceable? There's a noise ordinance in there. We don't even have a noise ordinance. How are we going to enforce things that do not even exist in our county? So it already is still full of issues, and we need something that we can put out there for everybody to vote on that works, that can actually work. It is going to create numerous jobs. Frank's already said, I can do this, but I'm going to have more help to get it done. The amount of time that it's going to take to permit, and somebody's talking up to 1,000 STRs. I don't know if there's that many out there, but if there are, that's a huge job somebody's going to have to do. So you've got Frank's office that's going to have to do the permitting, accepting, rejecting. You're going to have a codes enforcer that actually goes in and visits these places. And some, like he said, the fire marshal stuff, we don't even have anybody that does these things. So we've got to get something that's actually doable. And instead of committees meeting and ignoring it, we need to come out with something that everybody can agree on, that it actually works and that we can move forward with. I still have a concern about the amount of money it's going to take to cover this. We've had some talk about $2 million, $4 million, $6 million. If this gets to where it's too expensive for these people who are paying commercial taxes on these STRs, they're going to turn them into long-term rentals, and you're going to lose that tax money. So you got to figure out where we don't want to cut our nose off to spite our face. We've got to do it so that we don't put them out of business or they quit paying the tax dollars they already are. There's got to be a balance, and you are going to have to cover those additional positions to do all this stuff that we're talking about doing. One final thing I'll say is that a big part of this is contingent upon sewage, septic. I'm a realtor. I know that a whole lot of the houses that we sell around here, the septic can't be found. The septic permit information is not there. So how you base it on this guy's house, and there is no septic information, but we're going to base it on this guy because he does have septic information. And then you've got people who are on public sewer. So the amount of people that can be in there, it doesn't make sense. It can't be fair. It can't be consistent across the board. And if we can't enforce it that way, that makes it very difficult to enforce. So those are just my concerns, and I want to get those things ironed out before we put it out there for a vote.
Thank you, ma'am. Greg Bird, just finish up quick.
Doug, I just need to ask you a question real quick. I've been fighting with the state on some of the stuff that I've been wanting to get passed, and I keep getting run into this wall. They said we're not tourists. We're a residential agricultural shopping zone. And just
Now,
like,
when you say zone, what do you?
I mean, the county.
Okay.
The county is residential agriculture. So, and before John Neal passed, me and him have been working on trying to figure out how.
Microphone, Greg.
Before John Neal passed, we were trying to figure out a way to where we could get classified. And Frank Nicely, I talked with him, and now I've talked to our state representative we have now about what can we do. And I've talked to Doug about getting a tourism, because John Neal said there's all kinds of tourism money that we could get with taxes that we can't do it because we're not classified for that. And I'm thinking if we got all these short-term rentals, surely that'll help us make the argument that we are a tourism county.
To be honest with you, I think I know what you're talking about with respect to that, but that's a classification that the state would give, I assume, through that particular division with the state. I can tell you, I can look at it. If you'd like me to, I'll do my best and get back with you.
Okay. I know one of the things, we don't have an airport.
True.
We don't have a golf course that's owned by the county. Because I was arguing, well, why is Sevier County not us? Because we got the lakes, we got cabin, and they said, that was two of the things they said, well, you don't have an airport, and you don't have a golf course. You know, like they got Sevier, and they got cabin, but golf courses. Well, we got Andrews. That's what I'm trying to get us help us out with other money.
Okay. I'll look at it and get back with you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Katie, let's finish this up and we'll entertain motions.
Okay, I just want to say, this does not have a noise ordinance in it, and I feel confident Doug would have caught it if it was. It does reference a leash law, which he pulled where we did that, and I just want to say, we need to, as commissioners, make sure we do our due diligence. So when Carrie emails us information for our meetings, it's our responsibility to make sure we read it all. And I know there was a draft that went out first, which typically doesn't happen, but she sent to everyone the finalized version, which it did not have highlights, it didn't have blank spaces, and it's our responsibility to read that. Now, we were trying to push it through because the citizens wanted it pushed through. If we're going to send it back to committee, that's fine. But here's my request. When it goes back to committee, I would like Tom Carter to be there and Doug Drennan, because where we're going to get into a dispute is over the maximum occupancy. Our environmental director told us
multiple times about the occupancy and problems we are currently having in the county with occupancy. We have rental units out there that should just be 1 bedroom. They're housing 3 bedrooms, and the sewer is not operational. It's broken. So that's fine to send it back to committee, but if we do that, we need to have other players in the room to help us successfully achieve our goal. And the codes inspector, Doug put in there that certified state inspector inspects it. At this time, I think that's our best option because that gets us to our end goal quicker, and it does take some liability off the county. You can still have a codes inspector and they can look at other things. But after talking to different fire departments, I think that was a good idea what he did, and that's all I've got to say.
All in and all done, is there a motion on the floor? What's the pleasure of the commission? We have a motion on the floor by Mr. Ronnie Coleman. Is there a second? Will you want to tell us what the motion is, Ronnie?
Motion's gonna be to send it back to the.
Back to the Public Service Committee?
Yes. So, everybody's gonna know what they're voting on. How many people got up and spoke tonight and said, we don't even know what it's about? How can you vote on something that there's no clarity to, that nobody knows what you're voting on?
Microphone, Ronnie. Point of order. He got carried away, so I let it go.
Okay. My motion is going to be to send it back to the committee, and reason being, as it stands now, numerous people have got it tonight and said they haven't seen it, they don't know what's in it. So how can we vote on something when we don't know what we're voting on?
Your motion is going to send it back to the Public Service Committee.
Yes.
Solely. Sammy, are you good with that motion?
Yes, I am.
Thank you, sir. Question or comment to the motion? Are you wanting to amend, or what are you wanting to do?
I just want the motion to make sure that we invite our environmental person, Tom Carter, environmental, and Doug Drennan when we meet.
Well, we can do that. We don't,
Okay.
that don't need to be in a
So-
motion. We have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Jim Snoggers.
I'm 100% for this, but this is the right thing to do to send it back to committee. It's black and white. Otherwise, we are voting on something we don't know about. Just want to support Ronnie on that.
Anyone else before we proceed to vote? Not hearing any, we will vote. If you want to send this back to the Public Service Committee, vote yes. If not, vote no. You have 16 yes, 3 no's, 0 abstentions. It will be sent back to the Public Service Committee. If you wish to speak or partake in the Public Service Committee meeting, see the chairman. I believe that's Miss Janet Norton, correct? That will be her meeting. We shall move right along. Next, the second tabled item is the Moore property. There has to be a motion on the floor to untable in a second. Mr. Brooks.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have anything in my packet on this. Don't have anything in my packet on this. Is it in there?
On the Moore property?
Yeah.
No, there wasn't, because it's tabled.
Okay.
You got to untable it. Then that's how you get the information. Then ask for the information and we'll provide. There hasn't been any questions in my office about any question pertaining to the Moore property. I have not had no emails or anything. Is there a motion on the floor?
My motion is to bring it off the table.
Randy Bales just made a motion. And who seconded?
Discuss it so we can find out what we're talking about.
Sure. There's a motion on the floor to untable. It's been properly seconded. Proceed to vote. Thirteen yes, 6 no. This has been untabled. It is now open to discussion or a motion. What's the pleasure? Mr. Snoggers.
Who is the champion or who's the owner of this project or whatever it might be?
This project was presented to myself and the mayor by the Moore family. They came to the mayor's office and presented this idea. Now, to clear up any kind of wild stories that's got told, we're not allowed to deliberate or make offers on land. Only this body can do that. So all we can do is listen and carry this on to the full county commission. So there's been no deal making. All they done was presented the land. The land was actually presented to Jefferson County Sanitation Department a year ago May. Mr. Moore is actually here tonight, both of them, and they can speak to that. But the point of it is, certain county officials knew about this. I found out about it in around February is when I learned about what's going on. John Neal Scarlett, the late parliamentarian, was the first one to know any specifics about this land being offered. How he found out, I don't know. He may have talked to Rick. I can't speak for a man that passed away and not here. But I know what was spoke to me. It was presented to the sanitation department. There was no interest. It was the mayor, at what time did you learn about it from the sanitation department?
Didn't learn about the sanitation, I learned from the Moore folks, not from the folks at the county.
In February?
Recent,
No, it would have been later.
less than 60 days.
But I'll be glad to answer any question that you ever wanted to know about this.
I just want one answer right now. Who is the leader of this in this body? Is that you? Are you the champion?
I would take the leader if that's what needs to happen.
I
It was
just wanna
presented to
know.
me. I sat and listened to the gentleman offer it. So that would be me. This meeting had to happen. We had to untable it so we could open a discussion. If you want information, I will get you any information you need. We'll ask the Moores, and you can postpone and not table to another meeting if you want to deliberate on the information for this land. That's not a problem. We just got to work it out. Randy?
Could we get any pertinent information that you deem as important, or just something about it? I mean, we got 86 acres, the price, some more information, the information that you have that makes this even possible. to
Let
talk
me
about.
explain.
And Mr. Moore, or whoever we need to explain it, or I have to ask a
When this
specific
issue
question.
was first brought, when I introduced it to everyone, the motion was made to table it before any information gave out. Actually, I shouldn't have never let Katie Huffaker address it because it's a higher ranking motion and it was properly seconded. I shouldn't have let anybody, but I let Ms. Huffaker speak. And at times I let people speak when it's out of turn, and I shouldn't, out of being nice to people. But the point of it is, if you want information, it's no problem to get the information in a write-up. But see, I could not do a write-up because it was tabled. Now that it's untabled, we can say at the next meeting, you want it all, or I'll email it to you. And you can get the rundown of what the money can actually be spent for. John Neal Scarlett put a lot of time into this because he felt like that the taxpayers in Jefferson County ought to be getting something if the money can't be spent for nothing else. That's what drives this. So I guess really I'm speaking for him in this instance. But the point is, once you table, You can't bring back information until it's untabled. It is untabled now. So therefore, if you're asking for information and you want to postpone, we're
I
good.
would like to get the information out tonight if we can. Is there any way to do that? I
No.
mean, we could use the golf course and make it a tourist town like he was talking about a few minutes ago, and that would be tourism and development.
Here's the point of the whole thing. If I'm going to do the thesis that says this is the whole thing about the property, it will take a little bit of time to type all this up. Be glad to email it to the whole commission when it's done. But the point is, if we're interested, we need to tell the Moore family, hey, we are interested. Okay, who seconded your motion?
Oh, I didn't, no, I never.
I thought Randy made a motion. Okay. Right, Katie, you go ahead and speak.
Okay, I find this property of interest because it's 86 acres, and I personally like the idea of like agri-commerce park, agritourism, fair, something that helps our farmers. So I would like additional information on it, and I know based on what we decide to do with the property would determine infrastructure and development plans and all. But those are some ideas I like about it. And also, this is hotel motel tax money. It's not property tax money, and it can be used for economic development or tourism. And I think there are some good things we could do with this property, but we probably need more information. And I would like to ask the mayor if he'd be willing to give an opinion on the property too, since he's looked at it some.
Mr. Mayor.
The offer came to us, and this property adjoins county property, so our due diligence was to bring the property to you. As far as the uses of the property, without a geo survey on the property, knowing what can and cannot be placed there, I can't say. I do know that when property becomes available to you, you need to take a little interest in it, and funding and what it can be used for. Possibly some of it could be used for landfill. You could do some economic development, but it'd have to be some type of warehousing that would be some type of enclosed structure because of the proximity to the landfill. More property, through the chairman and myself, brought the property. Wanted to know if the county would be interested in purchasing it. No other steps have been taken other than to bring it to you and say the Moore property has this property for purchase.
Okay, we got Mr. Brooks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have several concerns about this property. When it was presented to us at the last meeting, it was presented to us for the cost of $1.75 million, correct? That seems high to me. That's over $20,000 an acre. I looked at a satellite map of it, and I can't find where you access the property from Valley Home Road. It looks like it's heavily wooded along the road. It also appeared that we would need permission from the state for ingress and egress in and out of that property, and I don't see that there's anything there currently. I have another question that maybe you could answer right now. Has this been presented to the Jefferson Alliance, the Jefferson County Industrial Board, or the Jefferson County Chamber of Commerce?
No, it has not, and I can
Okay.
speak to that. If you'll just give me a second to speak to that. When this was presented to full county commission, it was for interest only. It wasn't saying, let's run out and buy something. That's not the intention. If you was interested, then we can indulge into this property. Yes, it does join the interstate right of way, so does our landfill. It joins the Malone property that we bought. You know, it's strategically, there is a home on that
Hey,
that
point
doesn't
of
belong
order.
to it.
As the presenter, you can't debate positive or negative on this, so you're
Sure.
selling us
I'm just
with
merely
that.
throwing out the
You
information.
can do that, but you have to step off the chair, and you have to stay off the chair until the matter's settled.
He asked me the question, I was just answering. I'll be glad to step aside, or I'll just do the write-up and just email it out to everybody, and I'll answer the questions.
Well, we don't have a motion for that, so.
Right.
I've got
I'll be
one.
glad to step aside in the chair if Mr. Solomon wants to take the chair.
Am I recognized, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you. Another question I wanted to pose to the body is, what will we do with this land? It seems to me that we should have a plan in place before going after the acquisition. And I would like input from the Alliance, the Industrial Development Board, and the Chamber of Commerce. To me, this does not seem to be a good piece of property for us to purchase for industrial development. I really don't like the location for it for anything other than added space to the landfill. We're not in a position to purchase more land for the landfill right now. I do understand, and I appreciate you making it clear at the beginning of the meeting, that the hotel motel tax, the state dictates what we can and cannot spend that money on. I appreciate you making that clear. Just because we have that money does not mean we have to spend it on this property. We could let it accumulate. We could look at property near main corridors and along the two interstates that run through our county. I am not in favor of purchasing this property. I yield, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Jim, it looks like you're up next.
All right, thank you. Just a few points here. If we were to move forward or have a consideration of purchasing this, there is a process. Some of you may or may not know I served on the Industrial Development Board several years ago, and we did present, the last piece of property presented to this body that I'm aware of was in September or October of 2016. It's a piece of property in White Pine. There is a very thorough process to evaluate geo conditions, as the mayor mentioned. There's evaluation for access to interstates, corridors. It's a numerical process. Then, after we went through that a couple of times, we presented that to the body, to this body. I'm not sure who was on here at that time. Also, there is an EPA evaluation. Most of you probably don't know this. You have to go and evaluate. There's 2 species of bats that are on the endangered species list that you have to go in and actually see if they're there or not. And if they are there, you can't touch that land. That was new, and I'm assuming that's still a law unless that species is off the list. So there is a very thorough process to present to us this is a good, okay, or not so good piece of land with all those things input. So there's a lot of preparation that has to go into it to get it in front of us. Also, now we have the Jefferson Alliance. They have to evaluate marketability. And as far as your reports and reading different things, hottest thing for us right now is a greenfield site with a big building on it. Okay? And that's going to sell quick. Where do we get the money at to prepare that land, if it meets all the other requirements, to develop it and put in some basic infrastructure relative to roads and so forth? Or can you market it to one company that would buy all 86 acres? Finally, not finally, but next is location. I spent 17 years working in the industrial park down in Mascot at the top of the hill. That company's gone. They're closed up and gone. During my time there, Knox County was very aggressive to expand that and get new businesses in. There's only 3 left there now because of the location. So Knox County even wanted to make it a better place. They came in and scraped off another 1,000 acres right adjacent to us. Nobody came. It's location. You got to cross that big concrete bridge. Rutledge Pike is not bad, but again, it was out in the middle of nowhere, which has its advantages too if you're a company. So that location is not good. I've got to go all the way to exit 4 in White Pine to get there, or down here at 407. 417, I'm sorry. So there's something that would be evaluated in this process to get actual access from the interstate, as I heard from the mayor a few months ago. Just to get exit 408 down here is a 12 to 15-year process, which takes us back to something that the mega site project proposed way back when. And just the basics, I've heard also this could be a community ball field. If we get into that business, we're going to be hiring more employees, buying more equipment and capital and so forth to maintain. And we got to, as also was mentioned, we got to put our priority on our employees right now and the infrastructure we have. And then finally, I'm a manufacturing guy. I've been in manufacturing for 30 years now. I love it. I'd like to see more for us, but on our survey, it ranked at the bottom of what folks want to see growing in this county. Okay? And then, I guess that's it for now. Thank you. I yield.
Janet?
I just had one question about the property. I don't know if somebody here is capable of answering this tonight or not, but if I understand correctly, this property backs up to landfill property, correct? And I was looking at it at an aerial satellite photo that we can see through CRS tax records, et cetera. It looks like there's a retention pond that is part of the landfill that's very close to the lot line of this property, which I know as a realtor creates issues. So that's just something I noticed as a realtor. That was something that popped into my mind when I saw it. That retention pond is not something you would want to develop close to unless you were developing more landfill. So just a question about that, or
Okay, the encroachment of the water drainage pond that you're speaking of is part of the reason why your landfill don't have a permit. Okay, they has been an easement drawn up to try to make that go away because the home was built in the wrong place. So that's your issue with that home. You know, I'm not here to argue issues if you like it or not. That's not what I'm here. I'm here to just say, if you're interested, move forward and look at the project. If you're not, don't. You know, all you got to do is say either yes, we're kind of interested, or no, we're not. You know, this ain't an Armageddon of, oh, I can tell you 1,000 reasons why we shouldn't do this. Well, I can probably tell you 1,000 reasons why you shouldn't get out of bed in the morning. But here's your problem. The people out here right now that's sitting in these benches are tired of seeing their property taxes go up every year. Okay, if we're anti-business and we're anti-economic anything, okay, you are guaranteed that your properties, that makes us either tourism, bedroom community, this is it. Okay, you're sitting on money. You're talking about going after more hotel motel tax with what Mr. Brooks said is no real plan of anything that you're going to do with that money, but you're still collecting it. Now, we can let it pile up, but where does that leave the county? Where does that leave the taxpayer? What did the taxpayer get back from what they're putting out into this? Okay, you can't spend that money on roads. You can't spend it on other stuff. It's economic development or entertainment. Me, a lot of people have approached me and said, I'd like to see a venue. I'd like to see us have something to where we could actually do something in Jefferson County. Jefferson County don't even have a large steakhouse. All I'm saying is that when opportunity knocks, if you're not interested, respectfully say no, we're not interested. Or say, yes, we'll look into this. I'm not saying just vote to buy it. That ain't what was said. What was said was, look at you and explore your options. And that's what we don't do in this county. We're not open-minded and we don't look around. Now look, if you want the bedroom community, that's fine. Why are we even having this conversation? That's the key to this, the whole thing. I rest.
Marcus Reed.
I would like to ask Eric if he would come and speak to us. I'd like to know about this retention pond because I talked to him before the meeting and he enlightened me and some ways, and I think all of us need to listen to him because this butts up to the landfill, and I think he can clarify some things.
I can tell you this, we do have a boundary issue. We are not infringing on Mr. Moore's property at this time, but we are we're not in violation, we're just within that boundary. It's 100, the best of my knowledge, it's a 100-foot boundary. Prior to me, we had a written agreement with Mr. Moore. That is on file at the office. We have that signed between prior to me and him. The state law has changed a little bit on that boundary, and when TDEC comes, they can explain that to you. The only way now, and this was my ignorance before, if the county did purchase this, yes, it benefits the landfill to an extent. We would have to purchase a section to extend that from the county. The landfill would. We would have to purchase that. So does it help? Yes, it helps us with that boundary. Does it help this with the issue of Jens wanting to buy this property? I can't speak to that. I can only speak to the landfill's boundary problem. We have to be good neighbors and good stewards. So I couldn't go and ask Mr. Moore if he'd sell us a 5-acre strip that's 100 foot wide and 500 foot long. I couldn't ask him that because you wouldn't sell a piece of property like that, and I wouldn't sell a piece of property like that. But we can purchase that from the county if the county owned that. That's where we are on our pond, our retention piece. Yes, it would benefit. It's all how you look at it.
Thank you. Anybody else got any other questions for him? Jimmy, you want to take back over?
I can.
All right.
Make a motion.
Katie, what's your motion?
What's your motion?
Okay, I'm going to make a motion, and if somebody wants to modify my motion a little bit, that's fine too, but I'm going to make a motion to send this topic to the Economic Development Alliance. What? Oh. To evaluate the best appropriate use for this property, or if to help us determine if it would be a benefit to the county, and once that best use is determined, let us know the infrastructure that's needed, and then to bring us back information at our next county commission meeting to work with the chair on that.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Does everybody understand the motion?
Could you repeat it, please, Mr. Chairman?
Can you repeat that, please?
Yes. Okay. The motion is to send this piece of property to the Economic Development Alliance to evaluate the best appropriate use for the property, if it's a benefit to the county, and to, once they figure out that, like, maybe they can look into infrastructure or some of the other, I didn't say this the first time, but, you know, if there's other steps they can take, if they can get free information from TVA about the property, I don't know, but whatever the Economic Development Alliance could determine by looking at the property, bring us back the information at our next county commission meeting.
Mr. Snodgrass.
Yeah, I got a question for you, and then we'll let the chairman decide on that. If that were to come to you, you get your data from the Industrial Development Board?
From several sources. Honestly, I'm already working on this, and waiting to be asked.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Could you come to the podium, please?
I would go, Jim, to several sources. As Katie said, TVA. You know, I can make a call in the morning and be talking with Tim Deadwell with TVA in probably a day or two, and they'll, at no cost to the county, study that piece of property and pretty quickly get me back what they think about it, as well as other sources. But there's a lot of steps on, you know, feasibility studies, Environmental, you said it earlier, endangered species, wetlands, floodplains. What about, the utilities? What's it gonna take to get water? There's obviously no sewer out there as well. There's a lot of steps and a lot of things, but I mean, a lot of that will take some time, but when's somebody say 20 days? When's the next?
Third Monday next month.
Third Monday, so, yeah, I could gather quite a bit of that, but by next meeting, by September, no, I could, quite a bit of it, but a lot of it is longer term,
Okay.
things.
So, but we have a standard protocol process that the Industrial Development Board has put together that we still use that tool, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Amend Ms. Katie's motion to include the Industrial Development Board evaluation process along with Jefferson Alliance.
We have an amendment.
I'm sorry. And I'll restate that for you so you can. I did. Okay. It's coming. Okay, so my motion is to include the Industrial Development Board evaluation process along with Jefferson Alliance.
Does everybody understand the amendment?
You got to repeat it.
Yes.
I think he has a second, so can I speak on it? Can I
Yes,
speak?
I don't see why you couldn't.
Okay, so I'll do it by what?
I would. Who has the floor? I think I still have it.
Katie, she was.
Okay. So I'll do it by consent, but will you let the Economic Development Alliance director coordinate the stuff with them?
Yes. If we could get what information Jimmy has available as well.
Jimmy.
So my motion would be that amendment to include the Industrial Development Board evaluation process along with Jefferson Alliance, with Jefferson Alliance in the lead for coordination, and including the Michael has.
So can I just say, for the motion to be the Economic Development Alliance Director work with Industrial Development Board and the Chairman of the County Commission and Mayor to give whatever information he can get over the next month and bring it back to us?
Yes.
Pop, do you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Jeannie?
All I would like to say is it don't have to be this hard. It don't even gotta come close to being this hard. All has to be done is say, we're interested, but all the proper authorities get involved in it and look at it. That's how simple this can be. It don't have to be a whole bunch of words. I mean, the motion's simple. We want our Economic Development Alliance to look at it. We want everybody to look at it. All we gotta do tonight is say, we're interested in hearing what they have to say. That makes it simple to everybody. And I mean, the one question that I haven't been asked yet is, what did the appraisals say? You will get copies of the appraisals from my office. I was waiting when the parliamentarian at the last meeting said, I need more information. I actually spoke up and said, I have it, but it was tabled, so I had to hush. But you can have copies of all of it. All I was asking was, do you want to consider this property? That's all. If you want to consider it, consider it. Like Mr. Brooks said, if he's not interested in the property, the commission as a whole needs to vote. We're interested or we're not interested. Work out the specifics later. You don't got to do all that. To me, let's simplify it. If we're interested, all the proper people, there you are. I rest completely. Yes.
All right. Let's vote on this. Does everybody understand the motion? Yes. All right. Let's vote. You're gonna have to vote for me, I guess.
Technically, I can't do that.
I can take care of your votes.
You take care of that.
So,
You just need to let me know your votes.
Yes.
yes, I hit yes, yes.
We are voting on the amendment, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
The
Rod, what are we voting?
first motion.
The first original motion.
The first original motion
I knew that happened.
with the add in
Send it
to
EDA.
EDA. 16 yes, 3 no's.
Passes.
It passes. Jimmy, you want to take back over now?
I thought you was doing a good job.
No, I'm not either. I've never seen the bigger people.
Well, congratulations. We muddled right through that. Let's move on along to new business. Order. Let's get this done. Hours late. New business, Resolution 2025-34, a resolution authorizing Jefferson County to join the state of Tennessee and other local governments in amending the Tennessee State Subdivision Opioid Abatement Agreement and approving the related settlement agreements. Question or comment? Not hearing any, we'll proceed to vote.
They're gonna give you more money.
They're gonna give us more money. Miss Hyda. There you go. Maybe the pewter ain't working. There we go. 19 yes, 0 no, it passes. Next, we have Resolution 2025-35, resolution declaring a surplus and to authorize the Jefferson County Juvenile Court to surplus and dispose and donate said equipment. Question or comment?
Douglas here.
Ransom.
Can I make a motion that we handle 2025, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, and 43 altogether?
You sure can.
These are all surplus resolutions.
You sure can. Does everybody understand what's just been said? We have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. You're going to go from C through G. D? Oh, okay. All right. I got you.
And J, correct?
You
35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, and 43.
40 and 43.
Miss Katie, you second that. Are you good with it? Okay.
Proceed to vote.
Oh, wait a minute.
Whoa, what just happened? We need to vote. Can you get across all that easy?
35 was where we started.
Yeah, we started with 35. And we went all the way to G and then jumped to J. That leaves 41, 42.
We had Ransom and Katie.
Yep,
There we go.
I think we got it.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. Snodgrass and Ronnie, you go dead?
You
Back
vote
up.
what? Oh, you back up.
19-0 passes. Next, we have Resolution 2025-41, a resolution amending the fiscal year 2026 budget. Question or comment? We've got a motion on the floor. It's been properly seconded. I see no request to speak. We'll proceed to vote. Janet?
Yeah, I was just looking to see what it was before I voted on it. That's not really clear.
Passes 19-0. Last, we have Resolution 2025-42, resolution authorizing electronic participation in meetings under certain circumstances and establishing a policy for conducting meetings by electronic means. Okay, Mr. Randy Bales. Sure did. What this pertains to is that at least up to twice a year, you can participate in the vote of a meeting without actually physically being there. It can't be an every month thing. Mr. Brooks. Yeah. Not seeing any. Proceed to vote. Eighteen to 1, it passes. Next, we're down to K. Commissioner Rob Blevins.
If it suits the commission and the people in the room, I'd like to just table my 2 items until next month.
You sure can.
But know this.
Okay, okay.
But know this. It was sent to Facilities Committee to put padding in the seats for sure. I hope it got to them for these kind of meetings.
He said 2 items.
Maybe we'll shop local.
Question. Mr. Blevins. You have 3 items. You said 2 items. Do you want to postpone all 3 items to the next meeting?
Whatever the proper way is with a parliamentarian, move it to the next meeting.
Postpone works for me.
We moved the first one earlier today. She wasn't here.
Anybody oppose? Not hearing any opposed, we'll move on. We have announcements. Mr. Ronnie Coleman has an announcement.
I have a letter from Commissioner Terry Dockery that asked me to read to the body. It goes like, my schedule has become much busier than ever, and I have some health issues to deal with. It's become clear to me that my schedule and health issues would not allow me the time needed to properly serve the citizens of District 8 and ultimately all of Jefferson County in the manner they deserve. I would not have time to study and gather information and attend all meetings. Evidence of that in my absence is a special called meeting in June to pass a budget for the 25-26 fiscal year. I deeply regret that because, like my District 8 companion and good friend, I would have voted no on any property tax increase. Therefore, resignation has been heavily on my mind. I appreciate and have enjoyed the opportunity to serve District 8 in Jefferson County for 15 years. God has blessed me in many ways. One of my accomplishments by commission over the past 15 years that I'm very proud of is the tremendous reduction in debt. This occurred during a time when Mount Horeb Elementary was constructed, the Patriot Academy, and roughly $26 million was spent on renovating JCHS, White Pine, received school upgrades, and Piedmont Elementary was upgraded. The debt reduction effort was led by my good friend, the late John Neal Scarlett. He coined the phrase, pay as you go. Literally millions of dollars have been spent over the last 15 years in interest. Paying cash for projects that are justified means taxpayer money will do much more. It also means not making interest payments could help lower tax rates. Imagine that. It is my hope and prayer that will continue to aggressively pay down debt until we are debt-free and then build a nest egg so we can pay cash for all projects and county needs. With that said, I recommend Debbie D. Henry to serve the final year of my term as I now resign effective immediately. I kindly ask that commissioners appoint Debbie D. to finish my term. Thank you, Terry Dockery. And with that said, I will be nominating W.D. Henry to fill his final year at the September meeting. And he is here if anybody wants to stand for us.
Does anybody have a question or comment? Sammy?
I like to say I served with W.D. Henry back in the day. I don't know how long it's been, but he used to serve on county commission, and I think he would be a good access to the county commission, and I'll be supporting you, buddy. Comes from a good family also.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn, maybe?
So moved.